Alright, I don't know exactly what this is with all the guns and the shooting and the halfling and all this, but it seems to me like you're all hiding yourselves, which makes me a bit suspicious that you aren't up to no good. And I don't think that's the case, because you look a little bit too well off to be some brigand wanting to rob us. So I've got to say, what is it with this guns and the yelling? Because I'm pretty sure that gets everyone's hairs up. Why not just be civilized? No need to threaten with guns and all of this. If you at least behave decently, we'll probably behave decently back. What can it harm? You do outnumber us in the end.
Roll a charm check, and you're going to take a -20 because you're trying to influence multiple people.
Is there more than 6?
No.
Okay, because I can charm 6 people at once.
Oh, then never mind. Roll flat, then.
Did that roll go through?
It did not. There it is.
There it is.
Okay. The man with the pistols nods and says, he nods his hood, and you look around and see most of the hooded individuals put their weapons away, but he keeps the pistols trained on Verve. And he says in a fairly clear voice, under the sign of Karl Franz, I am designated by the terms of my office to carry out executions where needs be to protect the sanctity and safety of Imperial citizens. In the last week, a woman has been seen moving around areas surrounding the town of Jettenberg, murdering and assassinating people on the road, including innocents, soldiers, knights, road wardens, river wardens, and people maintaining their own business. Farms have been completely wiped out, including 2 families that have been butchered. Based on the evidence that I have, I need to see your head.
I will show you my head. Can we go into a place that is not viewed by all the citizenry of Jettenberg?
He nods to the people in the alley and says, I can assure you no one is going to be on this street until we leave. And we're not leaving until we're done here.
And in the windows?
All these buildings are empty right now.
What a masterful job you have done with your ambush.
Well, if this person is this bad, I don't mind someone this capable. After all, we know several people who know we haven't been anywhere near here in the last week. So, if it is, there shouldn't be any problem taking off the hood.
I will nod, and wrist, you'll see like my head's bandaged. And I will I will lower my hood.
All right. Do you have a bandana over your face or anything?
No.
Okay. So
but my ears would be underneath my hair.
That's
I don't have those standing out.
That's fine. They're not stupid. They know you're an elf. There's a long pause, a tense pause when you take down your hood, and the man with the pistols lets out a very long sigh before he finally lowers it, and turns to the others and say, "This isn't her. Let's go."
I will immediately put my hood back up.
All right.
It was a pleasant evening to meet you all. We'll scream if some lady tries to murder us in our sleep. Give you a head start.
He turns and looks at you and he says, "Master Halfling, I can assure you this is no joking matter, and to do so defiles the graves of those who have been recently put into the dirt. Moore's realm is being violated even as we speak."
Does this have to do with that caged man?
There's kind of a pause, and he quirks his head and says, "Maybe. There are lunatics running around all over this city."
He talks of the dead coming.
There's a pause, and he says, "I've heard no reliable reports of necromancy.
Ah, well, my apology. I did not mean any offense.
I will do my half bow and say, have a good evening.
As he hides his weapons back underneath his robe, he says, if you're going back into the Hager cribs, I would highly advise caution.
Can you give me more information than just caution? What should I be looking for?
He shrugs, and at this point he shrugs and says, all I can tell you is that there is a woman out there who's capable of breaking a man in half with her bare hands.
Is she large? She must be large if she can fit a man in both her hands.
He shakes his head and says, no, just freakishly strong and freakishly fast. We have our suspicions, but nothing confirmed.
I will shrug and nod. I will make sure that I look out for suspicious women wanting to break people in half. Thank you, sir.
He nods and says, I assume you're working with the Silverwood Lumber Company. If you see anything suspicious, I would ask that you report it to Otto Silverhand as quickly as possible.
And you are, sir?
He kind of pauses, and then he...
that I might report said encounter to Lord Silverhand.
He holds up a hand, shakes his head, and says, that won't be necessary. He'll know who to talk to based on what you say.
I will nod and say, come along, Rist. Let us... I could use a rest.
Alright, and they
Alright, well, we got you your own room.
They all quickly meld back into the shadows and vanish.
Wasn't that a pleasant little outing?
I think your idea of pleasant is different from mine.
I think you may be hard of hearing in the sarcastic department. Let's go. Before all the brigands and alley thugs come out.
Yes.
Alright, you're able to make it back to the inn with no issues. Vertstadt, you see two very stressed out companions coming in through the door.
There you two are. What's taking you so long?
Ferdstedt, how much does a pistol cost?
A pistol? A decent amount. Sotek, how much does a pistol cost? Like 10 gold?
They're very expensive.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say, more gold than we have, I think.
Alright, I have that much trouble times 2. Or, we had.
Well, there could have been even more from all the others, I will say.
Ah,
You
but
had-
knives and sabers aren't like that.
You encountered 2 pistols and knives and sabers?
Oh yes, I was
Yeah,
ambushed.
y'all could afford a pistol, it just would be expensive. Sorry,
enough.
carry on.
I was ambushed. Master
Damn.
Rist here was able to get them less riled. So thank you, Rist.
Ambushed by a bunch of hooligans, or?
Probably the
don't-
witch hunter I think you're fearful of.
You don't say.
The barkeep comes out and he sees you, Verve, and he goes, "Ah, wonderful, wonderful! Another person to stay the night."
I'm gonna inspect this guy.
Okay.
No, something came in my eye.
Ooh, all that hair.
Yeah. Apparently, when you tried to put your hood back in place, you did it in such an imperfect way that 2 of your hairs managed to strategically fall and poke you in both eyeballs simultaneously as you're trying to view this man, and you cry out in anguish as your eyes are suddenly very
Accosted.
damaged. And he lets out a gasp and he says, "Well, that's not their polite. I know I'm not the prettiest looking man."
I will cough and say, yes, I am the 3rd member of this group.
He kind of
You are...
he kind of gives you a curious look and he goes, "You can call me Heinrich."
Heinrich.
He nods and says, "I know, not the most fitting name, sounds all snooty and whatnot, but it's the name my mother gave her. God, Sigmar rest her soul."
I will say, could I get a bowl of warm water, please? or hot water.
He nods and says, I can manage that. And he starts to do so.
So, Verve, why do you think you were ambushed by this quote-unquote witch hunter?
Heinrich coughs very loudly. He says, "Did you say witch hunter?"
I thought there was a man with 2 pistols and a big hat. It could have just been anyone with that 2 pistols and a big hat, and lots of other people doing.
I should
everything
know
they say.
With lots of followers.
The road man did not have a hat.
Oh, he didn't?
No, he just had a hood.
Okay, I take back my hood, or my hat comment.
And say it's just a hunch. He had quite a bit of followers. He said something about Sigmar's, office, and for Sigmar, and yada yada. Something along those lines.
As Heinrich brings out a bowl of a steaming water to you and puts it down, he goes, "You talk about those obnoxious fellas with all the long dark clothes."
Yes.
He goes, don't mind them. They're a little over the top, but they're only trying to do what's best.
They're on something about a woman that's running around breaking people in half and burning farms and slaughtering knights.
He kind of pauses and pales a little bit because says, "Well, I hadn't heard any of that. That's charming, but that lot."
If you believe it.
He goes, "That lot there is one of the orders, if I had to reckon. They don't, unfortunately, they tend to do a pretty poor job of hiding themselves among the masses. A little too theatrical."
One of the orders, you say, Heinrich?
"Yes, but I doubt they were witch hunters. Witch hunters rarely go with the cloak and dagger route."
Rarely, but it is possible, yes.
He shrugs and says, "Can't say I've ever seen it, but I don't know that many witch hunters, because any respectable man knows none of them."
Very true.
"That being said, if you were questioned by him, if it had been a witch hunter, you'd probably be about 3 stories underground in a dark cave somewhere getting your fingernails pulled off. Witch hunters don't tend to mince words."
That is a fair assessment, Heinrich. Thank you for the information.
I like to pretend they do. It makes me sleep better at night.
He chuckles and goes, "I wonder if that's related to all the news that's been coming around."
I will look to him before he says anything else and say, could I also have a meal and some wine, please?
He bows way over the top and says, "Of course, my lady. Give me just a moment."
While he does that, I'm going to go to my room and take off my bandage and wash my face and wash my head and kind of clean myself up.
Lovely red, purple, blackish bruises on the bottom of your thighs, but also on your arms from where you rolled.
Yeah.
And
I'll clean myself up as best I can.
Yeah, your forehead and your cheek have some lovely, fresh, red, slowly scabbed up wounds now.
I will take a cloth and I'll wrap it around my head and I'll go back downstairs for my meal.
As you sit, he puts the food in front of you and he looks at your cloth and he says, "You're not a leper, are you?" "Not that I'm judging, I just need to know where to put my hands."
No, I just fell off a rather magnificent horse. Landed on my head.
He laughs audibly and says, "Ah, yes. I mean, that's a pretty remarkable battle scar, getting off a wild stallion." He gives you a wink that is overtly suggestive.
I will let out a low chuckle and eat.
Wrist will give you a look of horror. You rode that thing?
The black one? Yes.
The baby eater? Yeah.
He's not so bad. He only needs to learn
Not to bite your face off.
that he's not the one in control.
Heinrich.
That'd be pretty hard. I'm pretty sure he said it was a she.
Oh, she.
Heinrich.
Yeah.
Heinrich pauses for a good minute and he goes, "We are still talking about a horse, just to be clear, right?"
Yes.
He goes, "Oh, okay."
I don't know. Does a horse have breakthrough gaits?
Well, you apparently look like a tasty morsel. What color is your hair, Wrist?
Red.
Well, you look almost like a carrot coming up to greet him. No wonder he wanted a piece of you.
The rudeness.
Oh, how insulting. Well, at least it didn't get a taste for my blood. I will eye your wound.
I think that horse will be perfect, sir, for Sir Raymond, provided he can tame its boisterous nature.
I was about to say, do you think Riemann can handle such a steed?
From what I have seen of Sir Raymond is stubbornness equal to one of the dwarfs, and a tenacity that most of those Bretonians show. I think he'll accomplish it, or die trying.
Heinrich leans over the bar, rudely interrupting and inserting himself in the conversation, goes, "Oh, you're getting a steed for your noble. Participating in the hunt, are you?"
I keep hearing about this hunt.
After
Someone
the man
explain.
butcher. Couldn't catch me dead looking after for that white stag thing.
Explain to me this hunt.
So 8 hunters rode off with hounds and dogs and fierce things and bows, and then they all got skewered by some giant stag. Came home limping and died at the doorstep.
Heinrich laughs audibly and says, my... Have you told me your name? I can't remember. Whatever.
Probably.
He goes, "Master Halfling, that was only the most recent incident. I can assure you that thing has put a lot of arrogant little bastards into the ground lately."
Has there been an actual sighting of this creature?
Oh yes,
Is it-
there have been a couple lads and scouts in particular who managed to make it back. None of the nobles, though.
Is it in fact a stag?
Well, they say it's a stag. It just sounds like it's kind of a big one. I imagine if the cult of Tal hadn't gone through that recent incident, they probably would be calling a halt to the hunt. But there's no Tallites in the area right now, so there you go.
Recent incident with Tull?
He looks around conspiratorially. Roll a gossip check.
Rest! Go!
Wait, I thought Tull was big here. Why wouldn't there be anyone here? Sorry, minus 10 for that, so it's only 5.
That's fine. He looks almost extremely excited and almost jumps up and down a little bit because you guys haven't heard the juicy gossip. He goes, "You haven't heard?" He goes, "The Tallites, they all vanished. There was some ritual or who knows what, but over a course of about 2 or 3 days, the entire cult is just gone. The entire leadership, every one of them, every priest, every acolyte, every servant, vanished into thin air, and we haven't heard a peep out of them for weeks. Only recently have some of the other orders start to come to investigate to find out what in Sigmar's balls happened out here. The only supposed Tallite that I've heard that's still around is some weird woman up in the woods that wears a stag helm or something. And she only just showed up. Very, very juicy."
I will look around the inn while I'm eating and say, what was this guy's name again? Fuck.
Heinrich.
Heinrich. May I ask a query of you?
He goes, "Oh, of course, milady. I'd be happy to assist with anything you need."
I don't mean to be rude, but where are the rest of your guests? Are we it?
This very heavily deflates him, and he sighs, And he goes, unfortunately, yes, we've fallen on some hard times lately, those of us not in the wealthier parts of town, and I can't afford regular staff right now, and I lost my wife recently, so things have been a little rough, and so my inn hasn't gotten too much traffic lately, I'm afraid.
I will, what's that for?
Are you insight checking this man?
Yes, I am.
This poor man.
As far as you can tell, he's telling the truth.
I will look at him, and I will frown and say, I apologize for releasing all the wind from your sails, so to speak. I'm sorry for your hard times.
He holds up a hand and says, "Oh, it's fine. Gotta have the bad times sometimes, so you can appreciate the good ones."
Well said, Heinrich.
He does nod and point at you with a slight smirk, Verve, and he says, "I am gonna need you to pay for your room, though."
I will fork over whatever's required.
All right. He'll ask you for 3 brass because he offers a free meal for the first time.
Okay.
Because he's not business savvy.
But he's a great person.
As
Probably
he
turns into a werewolf at night to eat people.
as he starts cleaning up y'all stuff, he goes, "Feel free to help yourselves to your rooms or whatever you like. I'll be here if you need any drinks or something. My room is here on the first floor, so you can find me if you need anything."
Shit, there's one other thing I was going to ask him.
Well, hurry up and think of it so we can wrap up. Was it about the order or the Tallites or the hunt?
I'll ask him about the so-called wizard running around in black. If he's heard any news on that.
Okay, if you want to ask him about that, you will need to roll the gossip check.
Okay. I have
That's
to
actually a
remember
little
what...
more of a sensitive topic, I think, for most people in Jettenberg.
Nope.
You mention it, and he kind of coughs and says, "If you don't mind, I think it's bad luck to talk about such dark and terrible things."
But we can talk about a stag that kills many people and...
He raises a finger and he goes, "Not people, nobles. There's a difference."
Well said, Heinrich.
At least that's what my wife used to say.
I will shrug. Human politics.
Alright, anything else?
Nope, not for me.
Alright, the night ends, and y'all are into your 3rd day in Jettenberg, and that is where we're going to end tonight's session. Great job, everybody. Loads of fun. Everybody gets 100 experience.
Cool.
Yay.
Any questions before I turn off the recording?
Did we ever come up with short-term
Oh no, let's
party
do that
goal?
real quick. Y'all have got plenty of options.
Do you want to do short-term return the horse to Riemann?
Well, we don't actually do that. Because someone else deals with paying for the horse and getting it.
Y'all might want to investigate
thought.
that before you decide if you're responsible for it or not.
Well, that's what you said yesterday.
I said that you need to contact... So, just a refresher, you will need to contact Hugo to come pay for it. But how it's getting back to Riemann is still up in the air.
That's what I thought, yeah. So we have someone to pay for it, but we don't have transport.
It's okay, I'll just write it back.
Do we want to make
I'm sure that would
short...
be a complete disaster.
do we want to make that a short-term goal, though? Getting the horse back?
Well, do you want to do any of these other side quests Sotek is like offering up on golden platters?
You don't have to. They're optional.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you guys. I'm being
'Cause
hunted by a vampire.
I consider the horse like the main quest.
Okay.
You mean the one where we go after another herbivore that seems like it has some kind of blood frenzy, or the person that can rip people in half?
Or a crazed wizard.
I don't know anything about this crazed wizard. There's a dwarf in here who's anti-wizard. That should not be a problem in this town.
One thing.
But-
sorry.
The crazed wizard is probably the thing that we as a group are most capable of handling, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first time something comes to charge you two, I am getting destroyed. Let's just put that out there. I am alive because nothing has hit me yet. All of my injuries are self-inflicted.
You could always hire a bodyguard.
Yeah, we need a mercenary.
Can we get the Rune Lord to be our tank?
I really
That
doubt
would would totally be awesome.
I think between the fact that you have an elf in your party, 2 wizards in your party, and a halfling is the only non-person he would absolutely probably hate on contact, which he'd probably hate the halfling very quickly afterwards. And you don't have nearly enough gold to even get him a minute of his time. I would say probably not.
So one thing is the man in black that death follows everywhere, who is being called an avatar of Mor because he's got a skull for a face. Is that the
That's
wizard?
the wizard.
Okay.
So-called wizard.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I thought it was someone else. It's a wizard outside of town.
So-called wizard.
Those of you who have heard details about the wizard murders, or supposed wizard murders, I should say, there's a lot of conflicting stories coming from all sorts of different people because rumors are getting conflated. But all of the murders that have not happened in town. They've all been outside of town.
Okay.
Some of them have been very, very close to town, but no one has actually been murdered in town by unusual circumstances. There's been like street fights and shit, but nobody cares about them.
So I'll defer to your guys' judgment. What do you think of a short-term goal?
All right, you know what, Cold? I say we pitch this to Aztec and let him choose.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
We
All right.
both follow your lead, oh mighty leader.
All right, Aztec, what's it gonna be?
Our short-term goal is to investigate this stag that has killed 8 people.
Ooh,
Sounds good.
You're gonna do the hunt. Okay, so, yeah, we'll get into that next time. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.